Hello boys and girls, I hope you're having a good week so far. Now, you know we've been focusing a lot on leaves and trees. Well, this week we're going to do a little bit more focus on actual trees, where obviously all the leaves grow. And what I'd like you to do is to go out into your garden and look at one particular tree. What I'd like you to do is to have a good look at the tree trunk and look at the branches. Look especially to see how the branches join onto the tree trunk. Now, attached to this activity, I have put some photographs of a big tree that grows outside my house. And I love this tree, and I love the way the bark is not all just one color. The bark on the tree is quite mottled and different shades of brown and even a little bit of grey. What I'd like you to do is first go and have a look. You can even go and feel the tree trunk and the branches if you can reach them. Look at the shapes, look at the size, look at the colors. Once you've done that, I'd like you to get a big sheet of paper, an A3 piece. Now, of course, if you don't have to have an A3 piece, you can join two A4 pieces together to make it bigger. Then I'd like you to first draw with pencil, and then we're going to use some shades of brown, and I've also added a bit of grey. Now, where my tree that I looked at joins the ground, it's a little bit thicker at the bottom. Now, on purpose, I am not going to do my tree in the middle of my page. I'm going to do it slightly to the side. So I'm going to take it up here, and you might like to also do that. So we're going to actually use this picture for quite a lot of things, and I'll give you a hint that it is quite a good idea to do it at the side. Now I'm drawing my trunk first, and then in those photos you saw, you can see that the branches stretch up, and they don't always grow straight. In fact, they hardly ever do. And then it's got some smaller branches that go off it. Now, children, when we do this picture today, on purpose, we are not doing any leaves yet. So don't worry about drawing leaves on this beautiful tree that you're going to do. And the branches like to reach up towards the sun. And this tree, if you saw my photograph of my tree and the trunk and the branches, you will have noticed that it's quite mottled. So now, once I'm happy with my shape of my tree trunk and I've done my branches, now I'm going to use my shades of brown. Now, I want you to press hard. I've asked you to use pastel. These are chunky, waxy pastel type crayons that I have. I've asked you to use waxies or pastels for a reason, and I want you to also go quite dark with them. The reason our pastels are a good idea is because you can also rub them, and then the colors go into each other a bit. And of course, I'm sure you know this, that you can mix colors. So that mustardy color was a little bit too mustard. So when we do art, we can always blend our colors together. So this is a bit of a gray patch on the bark that I'm doing, and I'm just lightly going over it with brown to give it a different sort of coloring to it. And if I would like this bit to be a different color, I can also add my mustardy brown color to that. And I'm doing my tree trunk as best I can. That's a little bit of black to make it a bit darker in certain patches. Now, boys and girls, my tree trunk is quite blotchy and mottled, and the branches. Yours might be more streaky because some tree trunks have a texture that's got quite a lot of a streaky, they almost look like lines on it. So you need to look at the tree that you have found to draw. It might need patches, it might need to be more streaky and almost stripy. Now, I'm just doing a bit of this, boys and girls, because I do want you to have time to do your beautiful picture. I'm going to just add a little bit of color to the branch as well so that you can see. Obviously, try your best not to go outside the lines that you've drawn so beautifully for the shape of your tree, and keep that same mottled look if yours is mottled, or a streaky look if yours is streaky. Some of them are also quite bumpy. They're hardly ever very, very smooth tree trunks and branches. Now that's just to give you the idea. Of course, you're going to take your time. You're going to work slowly and carefully and beautifully, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Adding your color to your tree trunk and your branches, and blending your colors if you can. If you are working with pastels, a good idea is to get a tissue and put it over your finger, and then when you rub, it does blend the colors beautifully. Once you have done your tree trunk with your branches, you can take a photo of just that for me and post it on Seesaw. And then I want you to do step 2. What you're going to do is you're going to use some paints. Now, if you've got watercolors or food coloring at home, that will work perfectly. I've got some thicker paint, and for this, I'd actually like the paint to be quite runny. So I'm going to add some water. Now, I'm sure you can see from my palette of paints that I've mixed on my ice cream tub lid, you can see that I've got different blues. I've got quite a light blue, a slightly darker blue, and then it gets darker over here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add color to our background. Now, for your background, obviously, if a tree is standing all on its own, just on the ground, and there's nothing else around it, you'll see the sky. And that's the effect that we're trying to get around this beautiful tree that you have drawn and colored in. And if you are using watercolors or food coloring, your food coloring and watercolors won't actually stick on your wax, so you can even let it touch a bit. I've got to be a bit more careful because this is not that kind of paint. This paint is more of a temperate type of paint. It's runny paint. And you can also mix a bit of white with it. And what I'm trying to show you is just like the tree trunk is not just one type of brown. The sky, because of different light and different weather patterns, is never really just one shade of blue. So I'd like you to mix up colors, use light, dark, medium tones of your blue, and do a beautiful background. Obviously, be very careful as you take your paint around the branches, because you're going to need to make sure that your branches don't get covered up. And also keep remembering to use your different shades of blue for your beautiful, beautiful background that you paint around your tree. Once your background has been done, please send me another photograph so that I can see how beautiful your tree looks. And of course, remember what I said, we're not adding any leaves to this beautiful tree yet. Keep your picture safe, because this is just the first part of this picture. We're going to use it again for something else. Let it dry and have it ready for the next activity that comes up in a day or two. Enjoy it, and I can't wait to see your trees. Thank you.